This experiment is composed of 3 conditions. They are organized into the following categories: low fidelity, mid fidelity, and high fidelity. Each condition utilizes a different head-mounted viewing metaphor. The low fidelity condition uses a Google Cardboard-esque head-mounted smartphone mount with a Samsung Galaxy S9. Participants used a Bluetooth shutter remote for input. The mid-fidelity condition uses the HTC Vive Pro head-mounted display. A single HTC Vive controller was used for input. Finally, the high-fidelity condition uses the Pimax 8K head-mounted display. A single HTC Vive controller was also used for input. Before participants entered VR, they were given a geology cognition questionnaire. Some example questions are shown on the screen. After the participant exited VR, they were given another geology cognition questionnaire. The questions given on the pre and post questionnaires were different. However, they both addressed the same type of content. Participants were first placed in a tutorial scene designed to familiarize them with the controls and the tasks they would need to carry out. Participants navigated using a gaze-based steering metaphor in which they would move forward in the current-facing direction upon holding down the designated button on their handheld device. Furthermore, the same button was used to interact with any UI elements. In order to accommodate this duality, player movement was frozen when in range of a rock that needed testing. This travel metaphor and control scheme was fully consistent across all 3 conditions. The tasks that participants were told to carry out were twofold. 1, to learn about the different rocks by carrying out interaction-based geological tests, and 2, to periodically indicate the spatial location of previous rocks that they had encountered when the simulation prompted them to do so. After the tutorial scene, users were placed in a virtual model of the Grand Canyon. We will now show a demonstration of a user in the mid-fidelity HTC Vive Pro condition. It is important to note that participants were placed in the same virtual scenes across all 3 conditions. They were instructed to follow the path and carry out geological tests with each rock they found along the path. These tasks included an acid test, a grain size test, and a final rock determination test. Here we see the acid test. This specific rock did not react with the acid. And here we see the grain size tests. Users had to match what they saw under the hand lens with one of the prompted images. And finally, here is the final rock determination test in which users tried to determine what the rock was. In total, there were 9 rocks in this main scene. However, in this video, we will only show the first 3. After participants complete the 3rd rock test in each rock group, they continue on the path until they trigger a spatial updating test. Here we see the first spatial updating test. These tests prompted users to select the location of a certain rock that they had previously tested or the location of the path origin. Participants were instructed to rotate their head to where they perceived the indicated waypoint to be based on their memory, and then press the designated button on the controller. The button press logs their head orientation and either presents the next rock in the test group or ends the test. To prevent participants from getting disoriented during these tests, a reference point was always available that indicates the direction that they were facing when the test first began. Thank you.